Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl BrittReacts, and today we're going to react to Joe Rogan interviews that have gone wrong. That's all I have to say.
From heated debates to awkward silences, Joe Rogan's interviews don't always go as planned, like when Joe clashed with political commentator Candace Owens.
I hate that
think
shirt.
we have to care about the environment? Like, what do you,
No, not even a little bit. Like,
not even a little bit?
no. Okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like, I'm
Okay.
not saying like we need to trash the environment. But do I believe in climate change? No.
Joe challenged her argument, suggesting the issue's complexity and questioning Candace's qualifications. Yet tensions only rose as the podcast's producer Jamie Vernon cited a website to bolster Joe's stance.
In 2014, the vast majority, 87% of scientists, said that human activity is driving global warming, yet only half the American public ascribe to that view. So
Yeah, I don't believe this at all. Just so you know, you can pull that up too. Like scientists
mean?
who look up the opposite, right? Instead of looking for what
But
you're
wait a
searching
minute,
for,
but
looking for
why-
what you're not looking for.
Joe would then proceed to emphasize the severity of the climate crisis, painting a vivid picture of its potential impact.
this could negatively impact all sorts of coastal cities. This could be a gigantic problem. This is not like propaganda that's drummed up by some sort of big business that seeks to make money off of this.
Nevertheless, Candace remained unfazed and held fast to her beliefs, fueling the conflict's escalation.
I don't believe it's real. Okay, so I can't
But why?
sit here.
But
I
here's the
can't.
question.
I can't.
But why have a belief?
What do you mean?
Why have a belief as to whether or not global warming is real or not real?
It's not a belief in it. I don't believe in it.
However, after persistent questioning, Joe ultimately got
My head
Candace to
hurts.
concede that she wasn't fully informed on the topic.
How about not have a belief until you really have
okay,
looked
so
at the
you
data?
would prefer if my language, as opposed to admitting that I do not know this, I wouldn't dive until I've never made a video, I've never made a public statement. You would have preferred if I had just started by saying,
I don't know.
I have no opinion.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
And while Rogan kept his composure during his debate with Candace Owens, the same could not be said for his argument.
Whoa. Guns a-blazing. Wow. I genuinely don't have enough information to have an opinion, but I do feel as if, I guess it's easy for me to question, well, how do you explain how weather has changed so dramatically and drastically since I was a teen to now? I just moved to a new place, and it's a snowy, cold place, but everyone that's local here, grew up here, is like, oh, this is nothing compared to how we grew up. Like, you're getting mild winters compared to how we grew up. In the South right now, where I am from, the north of Atlanta, schools are closed tomorrow because there's a winter storm. And growing up, that was very rare, and it happens more and more often. And so I guess my question is just well, if we don't believe in global warming, how do we explain that? And again, I am not educated enough. Feel free to sound off your opinions in the comments, or your backed factual opinions or whatever. But I do know that often when I turn on the news, you see, I guess, more of the Republican side not wanting to, or not believing in, or not confirming, or not on the side of there is global warming. It is affecting cities, countries, people, yada, yada, yada. And then you have what I believe is the Democratic Party that is saying we need to be worried about this. So I don't know. I would love to hear you guys' opinions or what facts you have, because I am certainly not well versed enough, but I do think that there's so much evidence that something is happening. What is that something if it's not global warming, I guess? And why is it so bad to admit, I guess, there's global warming? I don't know. Yeah, Candace did eventually say I guess I don't know enough, but I don't know. I don't think you should tell someone they shouldn't have a stance just because they're not fully educated on it. Perhaps maybe they shouldn't just be out spewing their opinion, but they're having a conversation. This clearly was a controlled conversation and the question came up. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about how that conversation went. All right, let's keep going.
Argument with Barstool founder Dave Portnoy. The confrontation
Barstool
began when
founder?
Portnoy dismissed British professional boxer and reality TV star Tommy Fury.
Oh, he's the one who
asserting
just
that
like
he
broke up with his
wasn't a
fiance,
legitimate
right?
boxer.
I saw Tommy Fury box. He is not a boxer.
Well, he's definitely a boxer.
Well, he puts on gloves.
He's definitely a boxer. But is he a boxer like his brother? No.
Well,
As the younger brother of former world heavyweight boxing champion Tyson Fury, Tommy often faces
brothers?
comparisons that
Wow.
overshadow his own achievements, a perspective that Portnoy appeared to echo.
we would not know who Tommy Fury was if his last name wasn't Fury.
Probably we wouldn't know as much about him.
That doesn't mean
But
he's not a
still
boxer.
good-looking guy. He's built great. He looks
Well,
like
those are-
he
yeah.
looks the part.
Looks the part.
The conversation veered sharply downhill as Joe introduced a video displaying Tommy Fury's boxing prowess, sparking rising tensions.
Shut the up. Watch this.
Find the
Just
Tommy.
Whoa. Okay, Joe is like apparently the king of like, I want to present Exhibit A into evidence, Your Honor. Because this is the second time he's pulled a receipt. I know very little about this man. I also know very little about boxing. So I definitely will mind my business here. I did recently find out who he was, like at the end of last year, because it was all over social media about the breakup with his girlfriend. I think, were they on Love Island? They were like one of the most loved couples from like one of the original seasons of Long Island, UK or whatever. And apparently it was like super scandalous and they have a child. I literally learned all of this on Instagram. That is the only reason I know this man's name. I didn't know he was a boxer. I don't know what gives this man the owner of Barstools or creator of Barstools. I don't know what that means either. Like actual Barstools, or is it okay, anyway, I don't know what qualifies him to say this man is not a boxer. Maybe he's not a boxer to the level at which people give him notoriety for. Maybe that's what he means. But like, he's in the ring, he's got on gloves, and there are the boxing is a spectrum. That's why there's so many like classifications. You know what I mean? There's amateur, there's heavyweight, there's lightweight, there's, I don't know, blind boxing probably. Okay. The shut the fuck was a lot.
Sparking rising tensions.
shut the up. Watch this.
Find the
Just
Tommy
look at
Fury.
this.
Find the
Dude.
Tommy Fury fight on
Dude,
the
shut
Jake
the
card.
Shut the
This
up.
guy
and,
cannot.
Please shut the up and watch this. Watch what he's doing. This
And
motherfucker
Joe
is
qualifies
100% a
to
boxer.
talk
Can you
about
find
this,
me
right?
the
You
record?
should, like-
Watch
Volkanovski's-
this. Stop. Watch this. Watch this. Look at this. You're out of your mind if you
No.
don't. Look at this.
What
Look
did
at that
you
right
think
hand.
that was in slow motion.
It
No,
does
it's
look-
not in slow
I
motion.
I'm not
think
gonna
you
lie.
slowed that down.
No. If you don't think so, you're just being a hater.
Yet nothing compares to the way Joe lost his cool during a debate with Steven Crowder about the impact of weed legalization on
Jesus
motor
is
vehicle
what?
accidents.
Traffic fatalities regarding marijuana have skyrocketed.
Google that because that's nonsense.
No,
you
we
know,
wrote about
drunk
it live on
driving,
better.com.
drunk driving arrests have dropped. What do you mean you've? Well, first of all,
Yeah, we wrote about what the source
first
is
of
there, the
all,
original studies.
just because someone gets in an accident and they're high,
See, here's-
because hold on, stop.
No, hold on a
you,
second. This is
you
because you just
interrupt
run-
way too much.
No.
You need to stop.
The scene unfolded with Joe openly criticizing Steven's demeanor, setting the stage for a clash of perspectives and personalities.
Marijuana is one of the things that are good. And don't shore, man. Just like you don't shore turmeric, you don't shore ginger, you don't shore a reduced sugar diet. All those things that reduce inflammation are good
Yeah,
for you.
I don't buy that smoking marijuana would be as beneficial as a reduced sugar diet. And my point is that people
you
get
might
so
be-
offended
you
by
might
me
be
saying that
correct.
and saying, but if you want to smoke, go ahead.
You might be correct,
Shouldn't be
but
offensive.
it doesn't matter because
Is
it's
that
not
a pipe?
contest to see what's the most beneficial.
Things only got worse when Joe's introduction
Valid point. Is he smoking a pipe? That is old school. I don't know who this man is. I was trying to see what his shirt said. It said Jesus is something in red. I don't know if it was a positive or a negative. This is an interesting argument. This is an interesting argument here. I'm interested to see what you guys think in the comments. One thing I genuinely appreciate is a good confrontation, a good argumentative argument. Like, I am all for confrontation. I think it's so healthy to be able to have just like a back and forth disagreement is not a bad thing. I think, Joe is the host of his show. And so if he feels someone is talking over him or getting out of line, you know what I mean? Like, you are susceptible to however he wants to respond to that. But I don't think two men having a heated conversation is bad. I don't know. I welcome stuff like that. I am someone that does not shy away from confrontation. I also don't think I think confrontation, she gets a bad rap. You know what I mean? The word, poor girl gets a bad rap. Confrontation doesn't have to be negative. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very into this. This is great. This is very entertaining. It's also super educational and informative.
Contest to see what's the most beneficial.
Things only got worse when Joe's introduction of a study led to a heated exchange of personal insults instead of constructive discussion.
Whoa.
Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado are at near historic lows.
You have him bringing up the source that you want to find.
Washington
Bring up the
Post.
study right there. Yeah, Washington Post. Bring up the study that we wrote. We wrote about it.
Candace said the
Look,
same
I don't
thing.
care
You're
about
looking
your
for what you want to
website.
look for.
Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado
Since you
are
called me
at
hold on a second. Since you called me a
While Rogan didn't shy away from mocking Crowder's
That's not
website,
nice.
he also showcased his own unapologetic self-importance during a cringeworthy moment on the Joe Rogan Experience episode 1572.
How are you so good at rock, paper, scissors?
It's just, skill, muscle, intuition.
Intuition. Can we play right now?
You want to play?
Yes.
Oh, but I only play for stakes.
Okay. What do you want to play for?
How about if I win, I do the programming on your show for a week?
No. That's worth a lot of money. You can.
What kind of money? What do you think I'm
That's
not?
like-
I'm not saying like the ads or whatever. I'm
It'd
saying
be like programming, like who's going to be on.
yeah, who's going to be on?
That's not possible. We're booked up months and months in advance.
You were so
and
confident until
No.
just now. We
No,
can
no,
pick
no.
a month.
That-
Joe's
Pick a
like,
month.
you're not
that's
messing with my
ridiculous
bag,
to
though.
flip a
That's
coin on that.
crazy.
There's no chance.
Well, do you think that there's something of equivalent value?
No.
There's
No,
nothing.
that?
Nothing that I can do.
No. There's nothing
Joe
that
was
you
like,
could
you
give
don't
me
understand.
that would be worth a week of programming on the show.
That is.
What are you going to give me?
What about the
Insane.
day program?
It's
You have to
asinine.
give me a spectacular amount of money.
I sent you a.
All right. Sounds like someone's scared to lose at rock, paper, scissors.
It sounds like someone else
You're
is
scared to
No,
lose at
you're
rock,
asking
paper,
me for
scissors.
something that's ridiculous. You don't have anything. You don't have anything that's worth a week of programming on this show.
That's so rude.
You don't have it.
That's rough.
It doesn't exist.
That's rough.
No, it doesn't. It literally doesn't
Joe-
exist.
Okay, he might be right because this podcast is very successful. And on the other side of just like, I don't podcast, I'm not on several different media outlets, but I'm sure his YouTube check alone, that AdSense check is crazy. Okay, so he may be right, but why does he have to be so like, it is kind of cringe. It's like, Joe, all right, this feels like me, the king of the jungle. Rah! Like, this definitely feels like a pissing contest a little bit. Unnecessarily, this guy's like, whoa, that's rough. Like, Joe asked him, like, he said, I only put up stakes. Clearly, he's that good at this game that he has that much confidence. Joe is kind of laying it on thick. Wow.
Like there's there's nothing that you can have that you can offer me that I couldn't buy myself.
I'll make
or,
you. I'll
no,
people
no,
I
no.
think will be interesting.
No,
You'll
no,
enjoy
no.
talking with them.
You can't. No.
All right, fine. Okay.
But that doesn't
We
do
don't have to
anything
play.
for me.
Joe, move
However,
on.
this
I
wasn't
didn't
the
like that
only
one, guys.
extremely awkward moment Rogan has
It was a
had
little
on his
awkward.
show. In episode 607, a cringe-inducing exchange unfolded as Rogan unintentionally disregarded kickboxer Joe Schilling's heartfelt sharing of his life's traumas.
Oh,
It was a really
Jesus.
tough fight for me too. You know, it was a really bad camp. It was probably the worst camp of my career. My dad had passed away like 3 weeks before the fight, and like 2 or 3 days after that,
Why does that look so shitty, Jamie?
my cousin passed away. So it was
Boom.
Comedian Shane Gillis was
Yeah,
also
just-
about to find out firsthand just how awkward interviews on the Joe Rogan Experience could be.
If I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny. No?
What?
I was like, I
Is that what
literally
you thought?
Was
I
he
literally
listening?
thought
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it'd be funny.
Well, it could have been funny.
Yeah.
I was booked up, though.
No, it's fine. It was just funny to truly. That was a conversation I actually had.
However, nothing makes for more uncomfortable viewing than Joe arguing with his own friend, Eddie Bravo, who fanatically clings to the belief that the Earth is flat.
Show me a
Space
real
satellite.
picture. Show me a real picture.
Listen, NASA
Find
does
it.
not have one of those satellites.
Fake.
Why do you think that's fake?
That's fake as fuck.
Why does it look fake
It looks
as fuck?
like something you would see in a movie.
That's because when they do it in a movie, they try to make it look like this, which is what
man.
looks real.
If that's real to you, man,
You don't think it's real?
they faked 6 moon
Eddie, dude,
landings.
stop saying that because it's irrelevant. Why would it be fake?
Propaganda, man.
Eddie sparked the fiery debate with the brazen declaration that photos of around Earth are all fake. Joe, undeterred, then demanded proof of a genuine flat Earth image, igniting a quest for truth amidst the clash of beliefs.
Is there a photo of this flat Earth?
No, I don't. Like I just said again.
That's what I asked.
There's no photo of the flat Earth from space. There's no photo of the round Earth from
That's
space.
not true. That's not
the
true.
truth. It's all fake.
No, why do you say they're fake, though? What
they
evidence?
look fake. They look CGI.
But you're not an expert in imagery.
Cornered and under pressure,
'Cause
Eddie
they look
countered with a
fake.
bold claim, asserting that Joe's sources were allegedly paid to perpetuate the conspiracy.
Hey, so where did you get this information?
Jamie.
Where'd you get it?
Where'd I get what?
This information. Where is this coming from?
You can tell
Coming
they're
off the
friends.
internet.
Exactly.
American
So
the
you're
American
reading
Journal-
some information. I'm reading some information.
Slow down,
off
slow
the
down.
internet.
Slow
You
down.
didn't go to the
Slow down.
library.
Slow
It's
down.
on Wikipedia.
Just slow down.
Eddie, stop
There's
doing that.
sources here. There's a book called The American Journal of Science. I'm sure that a lot of people respect
which is
that.
The brow, he's like, ugh. This is such a friend exchange. It's like, bro, here we go again, talking like, I don't know anyone. I know that people call them like flat earthers. I don't know anybody who even like has enough time to have this argument. To me, the earth is round. It's always been round. Perhaps that's because that's what I've always been told. But will any of us actually know unless we put our feet on some type of surface that will give us the view to see a flat or a round earth? I don't know. This argument is wild to me. It's wild. Because what if the earth is actually flat?
Bought and paid for.
Well, maybe.
It is. It's bought and paid for it. It's part of that.
Here's the thing, Eddie.
It's like the
why?
Washington Post.
Eddie,
Why?
why would anybody be paying money for people to lie about the world spinning?
Eddie would proceed to vehemently
It would
deny that the
literally
Earth was
discredit
spinning,
everything we know
dismissing the
in
existence
science.
of concrete evidence to support such a phenomenon.
Eddie, people have known it's spinning forever. That's how the seasons
Gravity,
work.
baby.
That's how you see the sun. We spin around. That's why it
Okay,
makes
explain this
eclipses.
to me.
That's why we
That's why you
age,
can
too.
track time zones. That's why you can put a piece of stick in the ground.
You're saying all the correct.
It acts as a sundial.
After a lengthy exchange lasting more than 40 minutes,
40
tensions mounted between the pair
minutes?
until Joe reached his breaking point.
I used to say the same
Eddie, you're
stuff.
talking about the
I
Earth being
said this-
flat.
I'm
Thousands of
saying the
scientists
same
have
thing.
looked into it. You think they're all wrong? That's so insane.
You haven't looked into it.
I have.
No, you have.
Oh my
Eddie
God.
is doubling
How could I not
down,
have? You don't
10
think I have?
toes
I'm watching
down.
you go down the rabbit hole. You don't think I try to pay attention to what the these people are talking about? It doesn't work.
I don't think so.
Eddie, there's websites dedicated to debunking it. There's so many people working on these things, Eddie. The idea that they're all
keeps
in on
saying
some
his
sort
name,
of a
Eddie.
giant global
Eddie.
lie
Eddie.
is insane.
However, few topics create as much discomfort as politics, as seen in episode 1882
I
of
love
the
the
Joe
citing
Rogan
of the episode
Experience,
numbers.
where a simple comment about a political candidate rapidly spiraled into a disagreeable exchange.
We look for someone who makes us feel good. Like, I'll feel good voting for him. I don't like her. She's a and they just decide this is how I'm voting. You know, like that was a lot of people's perspectives on Hillary Clinton. I talked to a
No,
lot
I'm
of
pretty
people
sure
that hated
everyone loved her. I'm pretty sure she
the
won.
most loved.
I
She
liked
won?
Elizabeth Warren. She's
Why?
cool. I
What?
just like.
Was she being sarcastic?
I liked her. I like
a
her
con artist.
tenacity. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, but
who isn't?
Yeah, Bernie
yeah,
Sanders.
who in politics
Okay, but did you
isn't?
vote for Bernie?
He wasn't available to vote for.
Did
I
you
would've.
vote in the?
I didn't vote for in the primary.
primaries, right?
Yeah.
I
But
did.
I had him on my podcast. And he was very sincere.
Okay, cool. I've
I
had my
think-
mom on my podcast. You want to flex? I'm just saying.
I think
Who
he's
is
very
she? She's
sincere.
great.
But what about when Joe's guests disagree with each other, as seen in episode 1267, where two diet specialists with differing views began a heated debate about nutrition?
You talked for a long time, and I'm going to talk for as long as I want now.
The pair would go on to trade a series of underhanded jabs at one another, resulting in a
Over nutrition, I mean, I will let y'all know, like, I just did that video, Fit versus Fat, and there were so many different opinions. I just think, like, when it comes to diet and health, there are so many ways. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's body responds differently to things. So I don't think there's a one way to anything. I think not every, that's big, but I think there are so many pathways on a nutritional diet, fitness journey to success. There are so many different ways. You hear thousands of stories of different ways that people lost weight or maintain weight loss or, toned up or whatever. And it's just like, why would we get into a heated debate about this? Like, we could simply both be right and both have fact to back it up. Can we not? There's people who are like, get rid of carbs. There's people who are like, get rid of, protein for half your day. There are people who are like, get rid of water. I don't know.
a distinctly tense atmosphere.
Data are very clear on that, Gary. So
No.
yes, they are. Look, we have data.
We can't say things like that, Stefan, because we're going to disagree on what the data say.
Let's move on.
The
Gary
tension
and
escalated
Stefan?
between the two guests, leading Joe to step in multiple times.
Gary, I really continue to get the feeling that you do not understand human energetics, because that's not how it works.
Well, no, I'm just saying 10 calories stored in the fat tissue. That's
10
just
calories,
mathematics.
10 calories.
I didn't say anything about
Gary,
how much you have to eat.
I'm not done.
Okay, no, but you're insulting me,
Gary,
Stefan. You got to stop doing that, dude.
Gary.
You keep acting like you think I'm an idiot.
All right, are you done now?
Ooh.
Are you done?
Can we be clear that we're talking about...
Are you done now?
He is a
Can I
little
just finish this?
No, you can't
you
until
can't
I am
attack me
done.
without... No,
Gary,
you can't
you
do
have
that.
time to respond.
You can respond, write down notes on what you want to respond to, and after he's done, you can talk
Yeah,
about
but we're going to get
Now,
into a
look,
long
study.
discourse.
Gary
on
is cutting
something
him
that's
off,
not the
and
point.
that is frustrating.
No,
It
it is the point. We don't know what he's going to say.
Thank you. Okay.
The two diet experts found themselves in an ongoing stalemate, much like in the heated exchange between Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh, which began when Walsh argued that gay marriage threatens the institution of traditional marriage.
But then why are you opposed to two gay people doing that?
Well, because again, it's not about choice. It's about what this institution, marriage is an institution, and what is it, and what purpose does it serve?
Joe passionately argued that the bond of a gay marriage poses no threat to the sanctity of a heterosexual marriage, with Matt quickly firing back.
If marriage is not what I'm saying it is,
What are you saying?
then why do we even need it? What's the point? I mean, you're saying it's a man-made institution. We are making the institution meaningless.
But it's not meaningless.
okay.
Well, it's very meaningful to the people that have it.
Subjective, symbolic, and it's about your own personal feelings.
Isn't it, though?
Well, no, I would say that it's not.
Well, if it's not subjective and it's not symbolic,
It
then
codifies and protects and gives a name to a thing that actually exists, which are man, woman couples creating people, creating babies.
Okay.
When Walsh boldly declared that marriage's essence lies in a man and a woman creating offspring, Joe's immediate response was,
if marriage is only for procreation and to bond a family together, what about people that are deeply in love that never want to have children?
I don't think it's not only procreation, but that is one of the fundamental definitional aspects of it.
Yet Rogan was significantly more wound up during an
I don't know if I
argument
agree
with
with that,
political
as a
commentator
married
Milo
Christian
Yiannopoulos
woman.
concerning Christianity's role in the modern world.
Everywhere that doesn't have a strong Christian heritage is a place with bad morals.
That's a ridiculous statement.
That's
Whoa. We've had a similar conversation on this channel before, just in the fact that patriarchy is kind of the traditional values of Christianity. If you look at it in a very broad spectrum, right? Like man, woman, man is the provider, woman is the caretaker. This is like biblically how it was written. And so I'm saying that because we've had that conversation before, but to say that if a place without Christianity is just a terrible place is crazy, because I think as a born again Christian that most religions that I know of, like the most notable, or maybe the most, Muslim, Buddhism, they're all fundamentally rooted in the same thing, which is loving thy neighbor, kindness, compassion. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just so wild to say that, like, basically he's saying like a Muslim community is a terrible, like, that community is just riddled with awfulness, and Buddhist community is the same. It's like, people who do things like this are very dangerous, who would just throw out such a loosey-goosey opinion and make it like a blanketed statement. That's dangerous to me. You can't say things like that. I mean, if you believe it, fine, but to say that and like perpetuate that is like wild. And this is why people want nothing to do with Christianity, because what a judgmental, shamey thing to say. What?
To just up place with bad morals.
That's a ridiculous
place with bad
statement.
morals.
That's a ridiculous statement. Everywhere that doesn't have Judeo-Christian values is a up place.
I think that yes, I think it should be perfectly reasonable, respectable thing to say that our culture is better. I believe our culture is better than everywhere else in the world.
Culture of Christians.
I think European
ketamine and each other.
European and American culture, which is based on Judeo-Christian values, is better than other cultures. I think it's uncontroversial to say so.
I want to say to you all, Jesus would never say something like that. And sometimes when y'all go to type comments and you say these things, I want you to think, would Jesus type this and press enter? Would Jesus send this into the stratosphere? Jesus would never say that. He would never say that. This is a man who sat at a table with all types of sinners. He welcomed sinners. He preferred to hang around sinners. But Jesus would never say something like that. That is so bizarre. I'm glitching because this is crazy to me.
What's based on Judeo-Christian values about being a good person?
Ultimately,
it has nothing to do with the
right comes from the
very
Bible.
horrible Christian people out there.
It does.
What comes from the Bible?
Ultimately, our sense of right and wrong comes from the Bible.
Our sense of right and wrong.
I think your
He's trolling, bro.
The only way that a person could have ethics and morals and treat each other well.
I didn't say the only way.
Don't you think that people understand what's good and what's bad? Listen, if we're going to have a conversation, we can't keep talking over each other like this. When someone's trying to make a point about something that's complex,
you gotta shut up.
If you think that the only way for a person to have ethics or an understanding of each other or compassion for each other is to rely on ancient myths that are easily scientifically disproven, well, that's what Christianity is.
No, I didn't say that. I said
that's
that
what the Bible is.
the specific set of values that you have is influenced more than you would like to admit by your Judeo-Christian heritage.
It's influenced by
there are certain things
He's backtracking now.
The conversation would then shift to Milo's orientation as the two debated about its potential influence on his arguments.
Being a gay man
who I am.
that's
It's how I behave.
promiscuous,
It's what I do.
But that is prohibited in the Bible.
It is.
Yes, but I agree that it.
Do you see now? Like, why would you say such a judgy, shameful, like, finger-wagging thing? And you literally live your life in a way that the Bible tells you literally should not be living. Like, at least 50,000 times in the Bible. That's an exaggeration, obviously. Like, this is why you cannot cast stones when you live in a class. Like, and you can tell, I feel like he's, like, shutting down. He's like, yes. How dare you say such an outlandish thing and you live the lifestyle you live? I don't have a problem with the lifestyle that you live, but you have a problem with the lifestyle that you live according to what you just said. Wait a minute, what?
That is prohibited in the Bible.
Yes, but I agree that it would be better if I didn't behave like this, and if I could
Do you
choose
really?
to be
So
heterosexual,
you're
I
a
would do so.
self-loathing homosexual.
No, and I won't have this.
Because what you're saying is who you are is
no, it's not who
it's
you,
prohibited
it's not
in the
who
Bible.
you are, because I don't think my sexuality is an important component
It's a
of my
huge part of you. You talk about it all the time.
Well,
it's a massive part of what we've talked about on the show.
I think
it comes up anytime you want to make a funny point.
should just leave
It comes
now.
up anytime
Just
you want
leave.
to
I do
define
rely
your
on it for humor,
sexuality or your urges or
I do rely on it for
your
humor.
decadence.
I think
you
I think
jump
people,
to it because I think it's you.
And his
However,
promiscuity
Joe
on top of
Rogan's
that, like
debate with
even if
Adam
he weren't homosexual, you're promiscuous. Self-admittedly, you're promiscuous, which is also a problem in the Bible. But you just said you have the most righteous moral compass. Make it make sense. The math shall not math here. Okay? It doesn't. But this, my friends, is literally the biggest issue in Christianity and why people are fleeing away from it, like repelled by it. Because this is the face of the faith. What? My stomach hurt. My head, everything hurts. Wrap this up.
Conover was notably more tense, sparked by Adam's views on transgender athletes.
Sports with
Okay, here we go.
trans athletes who are competing with with their gender, right?
I'm trying to listen
that is a
intently
sporting
as
world that
possible.
I'm more interested in. That's my point of view.
My point of view is that
he's
if you're
pro-
a woman and you're a natural woman and you don't take any extra hormones or male hormones, you're not taking steroids or any sort of performance enhancing drugs, you're doing your very best to compete and you're at the top of the heap. But then someone comes along that was a man for 30 years and decides that they're going to be a woman, and this has happened, and literally transitioned a few months ago and competes as a woman and destroys records and dominates you in that sport. That's bullshit. And that's not...
Perhaps at the very least, there should be a minimum of time that you are on said like hormone supplements to like decrease or deplete your birth hormones. And that's just me reaching. Perhaps like if we say, all right, if you've been on hormones for 10 years and you transitioned hormonally from a man to a woman and you've been on these hormones for 10 years, then perhaps we'll do some evaluations. And if we feel, you know what I'm saying? Like perhaps if we wanted to reach for the highest reach, but like Joe is saying, like this person decided last week, I'm again exaggerating, they are transitioning, they've started taking the supplements and are hormonally changing, but this is last week. How is this person allowed to go against women or men who were naturally born this way and have been this way their whole life? How?
And dominates you in that sport. That's bullshit. And that's not competing on a level playing field. Is as much cheating as taking steroids when the other person doesn't, or taking performance enhancing drugs when the other person doesn't?
Well, I disagree, and I've.
What do you disagree about?
I've already. Well, my main point being the one that I already made, right? That like, I don't think that there is such a thing as a perfectly level playing field. I think we decide what kind of playing field we want to have.
Sure, but we do make the distinction.
Sounds like the freaking Hunger Games. Get out of here.
Allow men to compete in women's divisions.
And I think that distinction may be breaking down a bit, right? And I think it may be time to break down that distinction a little bit.
So you think that males should be able to compete in the women's division of weightlifting?
No, I don't necessarily.
But they can if they transition.
Well, first of all,
Are you okay? He's glitching.
There's a lot of stuff to break down. As the discussion intensified, emotions ran high when they delved into the sensitive subject of transgender children.
If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development,
I've
you're saying
seen
that's
this
not a choice.
clip.
That's nonsense. Of
We've
course it's a
seen
choice.
this.
You're choosing to chemically change this child's body.
Yet the discussion soon devolved into a bizarre debate regarding the existence of alpha males.
Right.
It's not scientific, but it is true that women are hardwired to be attracted to confident, athletic men.
I don't know if I agree with that. But
really?
Yeah.
But if you ask girls, like, what are you into? And you say, are you into tall, muscular, confident men who are also nice to you? Jesus Christ, it's going to be off the charts. It's going to be like most of them.
I'm really not sure that's the case.
But what unfolds?
I think, yes, in a very shallow way, if you ask a bunch of women in their 20s, but as we get older, we realize that is literally a shell. And when you crack that nut, baby, you don't want anything to do with it for the most part. But I get what Joe is saying. It's like most women visually, like especially growing up, you're like, oh, I want a tall, dark, and handsome man, right? And then you realize those are few and far between. And most of them, not most of them, that's not nice. I take that back. I retract that statement. A lot of them have nothing between their ears. Okay? This is exhausting to me. There's 2 minutes left. Let's just wrap this up.
Folds when a guest addresses a serious issue while Joe reacts with laughter.
Oh.
This situation played out during the Joe Rogan Experience episode 1532 with Mike Tyson, turning somewhat awkward after Joe mistook one of Mike's earnest statements for a joke.
I did that video and I was in bed for a week. That was 30 seconds and I was in bed for a week. And it's not funny because it made me realize that this is big boy. Okay,
big boy.
This big boy was
There
out.
it is right there.
Yeah, that wasn't really cool.
But just as Tyson finished calling Joe out for his reaction, yet another stretch of uncomfortable tension ensued.
What does it mean when fighting gets you erect? What does that mean?
It's a good question.
Whoa.
It's orgasmic sometimes.
But saying that it gets you orgasmic, that's a strange thing to say.
Well, that's just what I want. I wanted to find out because you're really bright, and I thought you would figure it. No, I'm being very serious.
No, I know. I know you're being serious, but I mean, no one will understand that other than you.
This ultimately led to further awkward silence.
I think Mike Tyson's just probably meets a lot of this, honestly, because of his speaking voice. And I think a lot of people mistake, or you can't maybe tell when he's joking and when he's serious because his voice, he's got a childlike voice, or maybe not the tone of the voice, but y'all know what I'm saying. But I like, he keeps his composure. He's like, I'm actually very serious. That last statement, I've clocked out. I got nothing to say about that. That is not my business. Mike Tyson, I think, is a very openly eccentric person. I mean, this is the guy who turned around like at the fight and his booty cheeks were out like a month or two ago. But yeah, I think he was serious. He's like, I think you're a bright person. What does that mean when that happens? And Joe's like, you're the only one that happens to.
That other than you.
This ultimately led to further awkward silence.
Listen, Alexander the Great was 32 and he conquered the known world.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
And so thinking about that as a young man.
Absolutely.
And speaking of awkward silence, few can match the awkwardness between Joe and Jordan Peterson, which grew so intense that they both completely lost sight of their original topic.
You know, you can say, well, yeah, I've got all these flaws, but look at what I'm trying to do.
Right.
That's the real ground of self-respect. Well,
yeah, Jordan's lost. That was clear.
I missed, I'm off the track with the question. The ground of self-respect. I can't remember what you asked me. So,
Rewind
we'll
the
have
tape.
to go to a different topic.
What? How did we get on this? We were.
You asked about the
I love the
evolutionary
honesty.
basis of
Oh,
in-group.
that was a long time ago.
I know, it's a rabbit hole that just doesn't disappear.
But where were we
I
just
really
now?
enjoy Jordan Peterson and listening to him
Remember where we
speak.
were just now?
No,
No
sorry.
one remembers.
I'm distracted by something else that's happening right now.
Oh, I know. We were talking about men.
Yes.
We were talking about men and what motivates them.
The room would become similarly uncomfortable during a discussion with fungus expert Paul Stamets, where
Fungus
Joe inadvertently
expert.
took his questions too far.
The range of guests on this show, a fungus expert, that's Wild. He looks like Peter Pan and Robin Williams got together, and here he is. What could I talk to a fungus expert about? For Joe Rogan's podcasts are like 2 hours long. What's the conversation?
Expert Paul Stamets, where Joe
Paul
inadvertently
Stamets,
took
the
his questions
fungus
too
expert.
far.
What are the negative benefit or the negative effects of this?
This is an explosive area of conversation.
Oh.
And that puts my life in danger. So I
Oh.
reserve the right not to answer your question.
Whoa. I didn't expect that. It puts
Joe's
your life in
like-
danger talking about portobello mushrooms? He's looking at me silently. I will respectfully move on.
Thank you.
I need to find that episode because what? They're putting stuff in our food, y'all. Anyway, it was entertaining, yet somehow I'm so stressed. I need like a chamomile tea to come down from just. All right. Well, I'm excited to read your comments, your takes, your opinions, your perspectives. As always, keep it kind. And if you can't keep it kind, get out of here. Go and have the day you deserve, guys. Bye.